Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Haskins. In this PowerPoint presentation, I'd like to share with you why I chose my area of research and more importantly, why I think this topic is important. I'm also going to be looking at what new insights can be formed from the existing research and the possibility of future research. Well, let's jump in. I believe most people are aware that issues of diversity and inclusion are topics being discussed in the classroom, the boardroom, and the workplace. I have been in conversations in either one-on-one, small groups, or conferences where some of the most challenging societal issues of our time have been discussed. Suffice it to say, the energy and expertise that I've seen has given me a desire to voice my passion for the advancement of women of color in higher education, and how organizations can brainstorm innovative initiatives to support women that could lead to a profound change. In this next slide, you'll see a diagram of Garrett Hofstede's cultural dimensions. In essence, the framework was designed based on cross-cultural communications. However, aspects of the theory can be applied to understanding basic organizational cultural practices and gender equity practices. Through the employees studied, cultural differences were quantified. The theory illustrated that embedded in diverse cultures are deep values that impact how people behave, but more importantly, their behavior when placed in a work-associated context. As the dimensions are not isolated, they interact and can be related to basic problems in our society. I believe if there are conclusions to be drawn or correlating diversity and inclusion to the advancement of women of color, the same should be done to understand the impact of culture in the organization. In the last slide, I shared how I believe Garrett Hofstede's cultural dimensions can be a bridge for women of color to reach new levels in the organization. What I like about this next slide is the excitement on the women's faces. The caption states, "One woman can make a difference, but all together we can change the world." There is so much to be learned from the accomplishments of women, past and present. In other words, an organization succeeds because the culture is linked to the strategic values. More than ever, today's marketplace is in a strategic position for further change. The world has gone global, and with it comes heavy demands on the workforce. We have to deliver to meet the ever-changing pulse of human capital. More importantly, I want to look at perceptions of organizational culture in higher education and the root causes of barriers that exist to women's advancement and the struggles women of color encounter. So I have decided to focus on 4 points. First, barriers and opportunities. Second, career and leadership development. Third, diversity and gender equality and equity. And fourth, mentorship and sponsorship. Now I will move into my first research question. Research question number 1. If hindrances to advancement are removed for women of color in higher education, what then is the probability they will be empowered to have a voice and strategically position themselves within the organization's culture to affect change? Depending on who you ask, comprehensive approaches to the support of women of color in the workplace is challenging. Others believe that the empowerment of women means more flexibility and opportunities in the workplace, financial independence, and improved quality of life. I happen to agree with the latter. Biases such as discrimination, stereotyping, and prejudices create visible and invisible barriers. Research question number 2. Significantly, women of color in senior level leadership positions are underrepresented in higher education. Can the implementation of leadership development models, mentoring, and sponsorship programs create tangible steps for suitability for leadership positions? Understanding the barriers will help women navigate through these hurdles, and there will be likely greater gender equity, negotiating power, effectiveness, and more women in elite leadership roles in American colleges and universities. Research question number 3. If mentorship and sponsorship were leveraged as a strategic goal, the advantage would be dedication to the advancement of women of color. How can best practices be implemented to remove obstacles enabling women to achieve more meaningful work and careers? Researchers have found that mentoring is valuable to the individual and the organization. As more and more women from diverse backgrounds enter the workplace, mentoring relationships can become a protective shield against stereotypical assumptions and assist in developing strategies to help overcome social and organizational culture barriers to advancement. Therefore, with every new generation established and successful mentoring and sponsorship programs should be introduced to ensure a greater outcome. To improve the rights, freedoms, and opportunities for all women depends on recognizing the nature of negative attitudes that perpetuate habits and seeking ways to ensure they do not derail success. Throughout my presentation, I have highlighted factors researchers suggest hinder the advancement of women of color and a correlation within higher education. These are real barriers that make it difficult, if not impossible, for women to rise up in the ranks. Some see it as the glass ceiling, an invisible barrier that keeps women from getting promotions, pay raises, and further opportunities. I hope to gain further understanding into the variables surrounding the glass ceiling effect. The research is encouraging. Just last week, I happened upon a program for developing women leaders called Higher Education Resource Service, and another called the Women's Leadership Academy, designed to develop women leaders using theoretical perspectives and innovative approaches to leadership. These discussions are inspiring others to work collaboratively and collectively to examine the dynamics of aspiring to these roles. When the literature review is all said and done, my hope is to develop a model of self-observation and self-development for women of color to gauge what and how they are doing in positioning themselves for advancement in their desired field or new career. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this PowerPoint presentation, and I look forward to your feedback.